Recording in progress.
Call the meeting to order. We've got a really big list of action items on our agenda today to discuss. We'll do introductions. I don't know if you'd like to call the meeting to order on your side.
Well, we have to call meeting to order for the counties. We have clerk there and stuff.
Love it.
So go ahead and get the highway district, and then we'll open up the county.
Love it. All right. So, welcome, gentlemen. We're really excited to have you. My name is Alexis Pickering. I'm the ACHD Commission President, and I represent District 2, which is largely the Boise bench, everything east of Eagle Road, Garden City, and parts of the Depot bench area. Commissioner Hanson.
Jim Hanson, Commissioner for District 1, which is East Boise, Southeast Boise, and part of the bench.
Miranda Gold, and I'm Commissioner for District 3, and that's essentially everything north of the Boise River.
I'm Dave McKinney. I'm Commissioner for District 5, which is pretty much everything south of the river and west of Eagle Road and north of the freeway. So I've got all of West Meridian.
I'm Kent Goldthorpe, you all know me, and I'm proud to be one of the 5 lowest paid employees at Ada County Highway.
Well, that's good. Congratulations. All right. Well, I'm Rod Deck. I'm Chairman of the Ada County Commission, and we'll officially kick off our portion of the meeting. It's July the 12th. July 12th. It's 2:30. The Board of Commissioners is officially in session. All 3 commissioners are present. You can introduce yourself for the crowd.
Tom Daly, District South, Ada County, basically south of the freeway.
But it's the whole county.
But we are elected from the whole county, not by district.
Yeah.
We have to live in the district, but
Ryan Davidson, District 1.
it just lives right around the corner.
It's largely District 16, 17, and 19 legislative districts.
Yeah, and so we're happy to be here with you, and I guess we've got some. I know Commissioner Goldthorpe's favorite. It would be number 5. All right, so go ahead.
We'll leave that for last.
Well, yes, number 5.
It's number 5. All right, so first up is our chip seal briefing. We've got a lovely little video, but I'd like to welcome Jennifer Behringer, our Deputy Director.
Madam President, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for having me. My name is Jennifer Behringer. I'm the Deputy Director of Maintenance here at Ada County Highway District. And today I'm going to give you a presentation on chip seal. I know a lot of you have seen the process through the neighborhoods throughout Ada County. So I'm just going to give an overview of what it is and how we're doing this year. So first I'll kick it off with a video.
Cool hand loop. Cool hand loop. You see Lucille?
Ada County inmate detail. Where they're all going.
Well, it's alright. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's alright. If you live the life you please. Well, it's alright. Doing the best you can. Well, it's alright. As long as you lend a hand. You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring. Waiting for someone to tell you everything. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring. Well, it's alright. Even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's alright.
to our communications team who put this slideshow together for us. So the number one question that we get from the citizens is, why do you even do chip seal? And if you look at the graph that we have on the left side, the red line shows when you build a new road and do nothing to it, over time, your age of the road is going to be somewhere around 12, 13 years. So you've got to, the smart thing to do is to do some preventative maintenance, extend the life of the road. Chip seal has proved to be the most economical of those. You look at our price estimates there on the side. Our cost for chip seal costs 22 cents per square foot. If you don't do the chip seal, at some point, you're going to need to go in and do a mill and overlay if the road deteriorates to that point. And then if you've completely neglected the road, you're looking at a full reconstruct down the road, which is obviously the most expensive. Deterioration of the roadway is a very natural process. The sun is a big contributor of that. The UV rays break down the oils in the asphalt. So you're just going to naturally get those cracks in the road. And then your winter cycles with the freeze and thaws are going to create more destruction, just minor little destructions. So I often like to talk about chip seal as putting sunscreen on your skin. You want to do it before you get those deteriorations, before you get too much of that cracking. So we go through and we crack seal in the wintertime and then come through and do the chip seal in the summertime. But it is a really great benefit to the taxpayer. It extends the life of the road and it is economical. This is how we have Ada County split out into our preventative maintenance zones. Our goal is to hit every part of the county on a 7-year cycle. So the county, or the preventive maintenance zone we're in this year is Zone 4. Now that we've got the new screen, the pointers don't work. But we're in Zone 4, and that we started out, and I'll show you some of our progress charts later. We started out on the east side of Zone 4 and are kind of working up along that edge of it and then working down. We're already starting to look at Zone 5, where we're going to move into next year, and we'll be doing a lot of prep work for that in the winter time. Zone 4 includes a lot of Boise and a lot of still the unincorporated Ada County pieces as well. So our plan for 2023, we started out with one crew, just because of manning considerations. Flagging has been a challenge this year. In the past, before COVID, we ran 2 full crews. We'll be back up to 2 full crews for sure next year, and then our goal long-term is to get to 3 crews so that we have more work being done to preserve our roads. We officially started this year on May 30th. We took a break for Juneteenth, and then also the week of the 4th of July, we took that break because we didn't want to hinder activities that are happening for that week, and we took that opportunity to do a safety stand down and make sure everybody and all the equipment was in good shape. We're expecting the estimated completion of our main part of the operations to end at the end of August, and then into September will be some of the tie-ups, particularly with painting and markings that are going to catch up after that. So when we look at the year, we prioritize our chipping to get 100% of our arterials and collectors done. And then generally we look at the residentials and we aim to try and get about 50% of those. And that's all based on the age of the roads and what we did or didn't do in the last cycle 7 years ago. We pay close attention to the schools and newly paved roads as well, because there's a kind of a sweet spot where you want to hit those and get the preventative maintenance done on those as well. The overview of what we're looking at for this year, total estimated cost $5.8 million, 20,000 team hours, equates to about 45 working days is in our plan, and our planning total is 309 lane miles this year, and those are primarily the arterials and collectors. You can see our planning numbers for the amount of liquid salt and aggregate chips that we are planning to use this year as well. So this is an overview of the process. We start out sweeping. You've got to get the road nice and clean so that your emulsion is going to stick to the road better. And then the chip seal operation runs through, you can see from this picture, the operation is on the left side of the chart. It's actually moving up on the screen. So we're going into traffic, and that makes it very effective. Traffic can see the operation coming and move around us, and they don't get caught in the middle of things. So the flaggers, we've got a walker on the side who's keeping the traffic off to the road they're on that side of the lane. The process starts with the distributor truck up front that's putting the emulsion down. Then the chipper box, which is that yellow piece kind of in the middle, amidst all that, is putting the chips down, and the dump truck is dumping those chips into that chipper box. And the entire process is a fluid movement. We don't even have to stop to unhook the dump truck. It backs in while it's all moving, dumps the chips, it goes into neutral and gets pulled behind, and then that dump truck moves out, and a new dump truck pulls back in. And then following that group then is the rollers, and they'll roll the chips into place and get them oriented. After that, a few days we leave the chips in place, and the roads or the vehicles help to continue to orientate those chips into place to create a nice wear surface in the travel lanes. Then our brooms will come back through, do a bulk sweep to get some of those excess chips up. Then our fog crew comes in and they put this fog coat over the top, which is an extra sealant, and it helps to hold the chips in a little bit better and creates another barrier level of protection. And you can see the road that had been done on the right side, the undone road, and then as they're laying that asphalt, you can see the difference in the colors there. After the fog seal is done, our sweepers will go out again, and then the paint crew comes in. And there are two parts to the paint crew. You've got the striping that you can see here, and then you've got the markings with like the crosswalks and stop bars, two different processes, so they're happening on slightly different timetables as well. So overall, multi-step process, but the effective thing with chip seal is it doesn't close roads. Traffic can still move through. There is a little bit of that getting used to the new surface. But over time, you can see the roads in Ada County that were chip sealed last year. It looks great, great condition roads. So we love it. So starting off our season, like I kind of alluded to before, we are doing work to prepare for chip seal even in the wintertime. So we're already starting working with our fleet to inspect and test our equipment and get it all ready. And we start our coordination with all the different agencies as well in the springtime. So we put our flow plan together. We meet with traffic, utilities, our bicycle coordinator, pavement management. We get our maps ready. We have cooperation with Ada County Sheriff's Office, their dispatch, because they're a key part of this as well. Knowing where we are and what the plan is, we work very closely with them. We're coordinating with our traffic control. ITD was very important this year as well, because we're crossing over Highway 21 and Broadway. And we also have, it's not on here, the railroad company, so we've been working with them for the areas that we're crossing on the railroads as well. We presented our plan to the commission in May, and then we hosted a communications connections meeting for all the media and cities and other jurisdictions that have communications organizations to come and see and learn what our chip seal process is. In addition to that communication strategy, we have a communication strategy to get the word out to the public, to the citizens. And this started many months ago with postcards going out, flyers to affected neighbors, sending people door to door to let them know if we're going to be in that area in that week and to move their vehicles. Digital, using social media quite a bit this year. We've got an interactive map, which I'll show you in the next slide. Of course, the RITA, roadwork in the area, we put updates on that. And then just in general, our website has a lot of information on it. I've already talked about some of the other collaborations with other jurisdictions and HOAs and various press releases and media relations throughout the year. So it's been a very effective strategy in getting the word out. And I think that in general, a lot of news outlets look to us for updates occasionally too, to help round out their programming. Here is the chip seal interactive map that I mentioned. This is outward facing, so any citizen can come to our website and click on this and see where we are. The colors don't come through very great here, but you can see on the right side of the chart where it's more of a yellowish background. That's the area we've completed so far or are currently working in. The area to the left is the planned area. The lines that you can see in the blue lines, those are roads that are planned to be chip sealed. So we don't have a whole lot of neighborhood roads this year. It's a lot of arterials and collectors. So we are working very closely to make sure that we're cognizant of the impact to the commuters, and that we're trying to minimize those delays for them. So our timing during the day, sometimes picking up work on Sundays so that we can avoid some of the high traffic areas, that we know would be impacted. And then also paying attention to where the school zones are. Try and get the school zones done in the summertime so we don't delay those until later in the year, so we're not impacting when school starts. And it's a great process, so we absolutely invite you to join us on board our chipper box. You get a bird's eye view. Really, it's the best seat in the house, but we would love to have you join us. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Any questions?
I was just gonna ask, either all three of you, have you guys ever been part of our chip seal?
Well, I've driven on it before.
I mean, like beyond the equipment.
I'm on the equipment.
No, I've never had.
I really,
like it.
it's really good.
Especially when it's
Please do.
100 degrees.
Go earlier in the morning, yeah. You can't really appreciate, like, I think the video does a great job, and of course, Jennifer explains the, fluidity of, like, all of these movements that are happening with the heavy equipment. You can't really understand the complexity and the skill that it takes our staff to do that work. And so I think you would particularly appreciate it if you made the time to do it. So we urge you to do that.
Okay,
Happy to have you.
all right.
Any questions for Jennifer?
I don't have any questions. No.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
All right, the next one for our team is the Integrated 5-Year Work Plan. Miss Christy Inselman.
Hopefully you're not saving all of your questions just for me. We can spread them around, it's okay. So good afternoon, my name is Christy Inselman. I am the planning supervisor in our planning and programming division. And today I'll be talking about the 24-28 integrated 5-year work plan, which is almost coming out. We're very excited. We're almost at the end of, well, beginning of the end. So we always like to backtrack and kind of talk about how the 5-year work plan kind of comes about. It's not done in a vacuum. Our commissioners have seen this slide many times from me. So it does start, we work in conjunction with our partner agencies and their foundational documents as well as our own. So that starts with our city and county comprehensive plans, which set the land use for the entire county. That feeds into our communities in motion, which gets into the demographics of the areas and the travel demand model. So obviously, higher dense areas identifying the future land use map are going to generate more traffic, and that helps us identify where needs are going to be for those areas. Then we have the ACHE strategic plan, which is our asset management, like our chip sealing, and resource allocation. All of these plans we also have additional plans. With our little lines that head out over there that come out of our strategic plan as well. There's some of our foundational documents, which is our asset management, our ADA plan, our bike master plan, the neighborhood plans where we have the entire county broken out over specific planning areas, and then our capital improvement plan for arterial road and intersections. All of that feed into the development of the integrated 5-year work plan, which is an update that we do every single year. And update, bring new projects in as we work them through the process and get things completed. So what is the plan exactly? I know I talked about what goes into the plan, but what does it do? So the plan, it integrates the construction and maintenance programs into one place. It gives you one document to go to for the activities that the Ada County Highway District is doing. For our capital budget. It implements the long-range plans that I spoke about, so our neighborhood plans, our capital improvement plans, our bike master plan. It's our outward-facing document to the public and our partners to inform them on what our current and future plans are for projects. It also creates a necessary layer of transparency for our planned activities. We have a great interactive map that we develop each time, so anybody can go on and see what we're planning to do over the next 5 years. It's a vital tool also that helps us coordinate both internally with our departments within ACHD as well as our partners. So the counties, cities, school districts, and so on. So this is our schedule that we developed for the development of the integrated 24-28 integrated 5-year work plan. We are currently here, we're getting to this point anyway. So we've already worked through, we had our kickoff meetings with all of our partner agencies back in November, a huge public outreach, which we saw a huge response from the public. We kind of gave them a blank map, tell us what your needs are. We got over 1,300 responses, which was great. That was during the February, March, April timeframe. We've had multiple work sessions with our commission to keep them apprised of our development of the plan. And we're now getting ready. In just 1 week, we'll be releasing the draft of the integrated 5-year work plan on the same day that we come to the commission with that draft. And then we have our target of our budget adoption at the end of August, and with our adoption of the integrated 5-year work plan at the end of September. So I just wanted to highlight, the next few slides are just some projects. It's not a comprehensive list of projects that are in Ada County, and specifically the unincorporated area. There is one project in here that's not unincorporated, but it's a pretty big project that's going to be coming through. So down in the southwest Boise area, we have a lot of need for infrastructure improvements. So we have quite a few roadways out there that are in this updated plan. So we have 3 intersections along the Amity Road corridor and 5 roadway segments that are going to be in this plan. Lake Hazel corridor is also another major arterial roadway, east-west, that gets a lot of traffic moving in that southwest Boise area. And so we're going to have 4 major intersections and 4 major roadways. The Lake Hazel, Amity to Eagle road segment and the intersection at Lake Hazel and Eagle is actually going under construction in fiscal year 24. So those are going to be some, and subsequently ones following after. So a lot going on in that area. And I know that the Eckert Road Bridge is a high priority for Ada County. That is a project that is also added into our integrated 5-year work plan. And the current draft, we're targeting, that one needs a concept study because it's a very big project. It involves a lot of bridges. It also involves the intersection at Eckert and Boise Ave. So that's another big project that is coming in. And we have that one slated to start concept study in fiscal year 24. So that one's actually gearing up to start pretty soon. And then we also wanted to highlight the Linder Road overpass. That's a large project that it's a federalized project we've got underway. So we recently heard from ITD some support for financing to accelerate this project. So you'll see the construction years of this project accelerate into this next integrated 5-year work plan. Early targets are like 26, 27 for construction is where we're currently at. So as far as design schedule, just an update. So we're at 75% design right now. We're doing public outreach for this project in September. With 95% in November, with final designs at the end of fiscal year 24, and then which will roll right into right-of-way for 24-25, and that's about $5.5 million to acquire the right-of-way for this big project, but it's going to be a vital connection over the freeway. So for the integrated 5-year work plan itself, the next steps is when we release that draft plan on January 19th. It's all done. No, we'll release the plan on July 19th. That will be open to our partnered agencies and the public for a month. So you'll have 4 weeks to review. We'll go back to our commission on September 6th with what we heard from the public and our partners in September. Again, budget adoption the end of August, and then full adoption of the integrated 5-year work plan at the end of September. And I will stand for any questions. Thanks, Christy. Just trying to hit the highlights.
Great. Commissioners, any questions?
Well, we did have a question on that. You mentioned the Eckert Road thing, and of course, when we provided the information from the county on what some of our priorities were, our highest priority was that bridge. And that's going to be in your 24 plan, is that it?
Madam President, Commissioner Beck, yes, absolutely. We'll start the concept study on that, and it will be a longer concept because it's quite involved with the park being there, the access, multiple bridges, the intersection. We want to make sure we do it right. So when we do a concept, that's a much more in-depth look at some of our projects. We go out to the public, we create multiple alternatives that we bring back to the commission for adoption, but that is starting in 24. We brought a new planner onto our group this year. We're very excited to have Aaron, and he'll be heading up that effort. And we've already started the scope of work to get that one going. So yes, that one is starting in fiscal year 24, which does start technically October 1st. But
oh yeah, I know.
Of this year is about where we're getting there. Yes, sir.
And the legislature in the last, I think, 2 years has has appropriated, I think, $400 million for bridges, isn't that right, for the whole state? And does not the highway district get a certain percentage of that?
We do get funding, absolutely, for those, and we have some funding that came in for, bridges specific, and so some of that could be applied to this project.
Well, we're hoping it could. That's a real bottleneck for us.
Yep.
For us.
We got several big bridges on our
Yeah,
plates
with-
coming up here very
with
shortly.
Park right there,
for that.
particularly during the float season.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Yeah, Madam President, I would suggest, because I know that this is a very high priority for the county, that as we go through from concept to design to everything else, that the county commission be involved in it, as is the highway district commission, so there's absolutely no possibility that anything can be missed with these guys. I know they're concerned.
Well, we appreciate that, and that is the reason that we upped our priorities, put that on the number one list of our priorities. Of course, we have our staff help us with that, but that one was that's our number one priority. You fellas, yeah, go ahead.
I just had, you said that 2024 is when you start the process. So realistically, construction time.
That's always another question. Sorry, Madam President, Commissioner Daly. So our concept studies, especially one of this size, will likely take over a year to complete, just due to the complexity and the outreach that we're going to have with the public and our partners. So at a minimum, it's going to be a year and a half to 2 years for just the concept level phase. And then as far as funding going forward after that, we update our integrated 5-year work plan every single year. And as projects are completed, we move them up in the process. I can't give you a firm date. I can give you generals. Generally, concepts of this magnitude take a couple years. Design of this magnitude likely is also a 2-year process due to the bridges themselves, because the technicality that's involved with the bridges. Right-of-way acquisition, if we're buying homes, sometimes those can be lengthy, and then construction itself is also going to be not quick. It'll take probably a couple years for construction.
So it'll be 2030 at least, at a minimum.
Yeah. With this update, you won't see a construction year. You won't even see a design or right-of-way year. We typically get through the concept first to see what the preferred alternative is before we add those years in, because then we get a cost. It's hard, even at this stage, really to determine even the magnitude of the cost of this type of project until we go through that concept phase. But that's what our consultant does, is they come up with a cost estimate for us, which gives us a much better idea too, timing, funding on what we can or can't do with this project. But yes, no, and that's what helps us. When our partners tell us this is our number one priority, that's the reason why we're moving it into concept into next year, is because if it's a number one priority for our partners, we need to do something. So I wish I had a date for you.
Well, yes, and then my next question is,
yes.
follow-up question is, if it's gonna be 7 years from now, of course, is there do you, as an organization, plan dollars as you go through that process? In other words, it's gonna cost $50 million 7 years from now. Are you gonna have $50 million 7 years from now, or are you gonna kind of plan it in, put it into the budget?
I mean, we work it in. I mean, ultimately, it's our commission that adopt our budget and adopt the integrated 5-year work plan. They are the ones who make that final decision on how we spend our dollars. But we do work it in. We do the concept and continue to move it along throughout that process to get it completed. Yes. I don't know if in 2030 we're going to have $50 million for a bridge, but I sure hope so.
Well, Commissioner Daly, if I may, I think that these are really good questions, because I think we've had similar conversations with other partners, just think on other bridges, right? So just looking at the Meridian, Linder Road Linder Overpass was their number one priority for quite some time, and now they also had some additional funding that they allocated to help with that design, that concept study.
It was $2 million.
Yeah, $2 million. So that helped us then say, oh, okay, if we're gonna come at that together, then we can allocate funding towards that right-of-way, acquisition. And so, yeah, I think that, again, if this bridge is gonna be complicated, it's gonna take time, but the more that we can work together and as soon as that concept is complete, we can brainstorm what are, because you might have access to different funding mechanisms that can help us then expedite, either right of way or building or what have you, because we're seeing success with other partner agencies and bridges that we're currently either on deck or getting ready to, build throughout the rest of the county.
And you anticipated my next question. How we can help you plan in our planning as well.
Yep. Yeah, I would say, I mean, as our staff would know best, but I would say, you know, funding, of course, and, just other resources and sharing. I think, you know, there's a lot of different, there's just like, you know, there's a menu of things that we can talk through. And just looking at, for instance, the Emerald Bridge that we're recently trying to galvanize, you know, obviously letters of support, working with, IT wouldn't be a good fit for this particular bridge, of course, but you guys might have access to different types of federal funds, or projects that maybe we can partner on and get additional points to acquire those federal funds. So there's a lot of different levers of funding that I think if we're coming at it together, can also make that purchasing go a lot faster, that building a lot faster. Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Just to add on to that, all three of you know that we're unique. We're the only highway district like this in the entire United States.
Oh, we're well aware of that.
Well, there's a downside to that in
I know.
terms of funding.
Yeah.
And I consider just a couple of downsides to that, but this one is quite often when federal funds are made available, they're not made available to single-purpose highway districts, and of which there's only one. And so they're made available to counties and cities. And that's where we could use some partnership, because it's like that $165,000 you gave me when I was president of the commission for those signals. Same thing. You could get that money, we could. And so my hope is that we work really closely together on this funding stuff.
That's why I was asking the question over a 7-year period.
Right.
We don't wait till 2030 and say,
No.
oh, we need $5 million from Ada County.
No, we would be doing right of way first, yeah, there's these pieces that we would purchase first, yeah. It wouldn't just be a lump sum.
Well, of course, that's the reason I asked the question about the $400 million, because I don't know what the formulas are, or what, I know that the highway district is entitled to a certain percentage of that, but I don't know, do you know how much of that for bridges, it's specifically for bridges?
I'm looking over to the side because I don't know the exact percentage of bridge allocation that we got from,
Justin, do
or
you
we
know?
would have.
Or Steve?
Madam President,
You go ahead,
Commissioner Beck, out of the highway distribution account, we get about 18.1% out of the total for the state.
So the highway,
That's just the highway distribution account money. That's the gas tax,
right.
the state registration fee. The property tax is a different bucket.
What about that 400 million, because that's a
Special appropriation.
That's a special appropriation, isn't it?
It's a special program that will be, and I don't think we get a set percentage. It's an application process.
Yeah. We have to go through, so it's kind of like the infrastructure for the fiber optics thing. We've got a committee that allocates the funds. State.
Commissioner Henson?
Chairman Beck, I think this is also designed to anticipate those bridges which were in the worst state of repair. And the one thing we've seen across the country is too many jurisdictions have the bridges get in bad repair and then they collapse. So that, my understanding is, and we have a really good inspection team, and so you'll see the bridge projects that get prioritized for us are those that are getting to that point that they need to be repaired. I don't know where Eckerd falls in that. The bridge might be perfectly sound, but the reason we need to rebuild it is for capacity. So that's where, you know, that would look at others. This is also the only bridge that is actually going over the river of any of the projects, which adds a complexity, but it also might provide some funding opportunities because it's the waters of the United States and maybe there's some resources that could be done related to bridges in the river. That just adds an enormous amount of complexity when you try and build a bridge. If you remember ITD when they built that bridge, Highway 16 over the river, boy, that was complicated. So, as far as we know, we don't have any other bridges going over the river.
Well, I appreciate Commissioner Goldthorpe's comments about where we could participate, be a player. We'd be happy to do that. We've actually hired. We have a staff now for grant writing. And so if you know of some grants that are available that we're not tracking, that we could help you with, we'd be happy to do that.
That sounds great. Yeah, Commissioner.
Do you remember how many floaters we had last year? Was it 200,000, 250? Elizabeth might know.
150.
It was a lot of people.
So that's, I mean, as far as the county is concerned, that's probably our number one traffic related issue. I know Lucky Peak gets backed up in the summer quite a bit too, but it's only every year we've seen an increase in the flow. And I know Boise City, they get upset when it gets backed up. We had an incident a couple of years ago with Boise police officer confronting our staff there. And, so it's multi-jurisdictional issue. Well, plus the neighborhoods close by, people are parking in the neighborhoods instead of the lot. So I'd say that's probably our number one traffic related concern by far, as far as the county goes. Do you concur?
Well, yeah, I think in terms of the aggravation level, because we do get a lot of that from because people will park on the side of the road and that messes up the traffic, and they do that to save a couple of bucks instead of parking in the parking lot. But anyway, you know how that goes.
Well, Commissioner, Chairman, I think kind of to summarize just the conversation, I think it'd be great, we can connect our grant writer to your staff, if you can just give us their contact information, and
Sure.
we can definitely keep on the lookout and collaborate that way, and obviously stay tuned for.
If there are projects like Commissioner Goldthorpe mentioned, there are projects that are not available to same purpose.
Yep.
They are like that project that you on the stoplights. That wasn't available to you, but was available to us, and so we did it. I personally delivered the check to you.
I remember it was the picture in my wall, in my phone.
But yeah, we'd be happy. That'd be good. I think if we could do that.
Okay. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Chairman, over to you. Looks like this is your next.
Well, we've already talked about the South Hector Road Bridge, unless you want to repeat that.
Oh, well, I was looking at the third one, which is state bipartisan infrastructure.
Infrastructure funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were just curious about how that was going, because there's a certain amount of that infrastructure funds that's available to the county and through the bipartisan infrastructure bill that was passed in Congress. So we just wonder how that's going. If there's something we can do to help you access some of those funds, if that may be some of the areas that you were talking about.
We should make available one of these to the three commissioners.
So, Madam Chair, I don't, anyone speaks, so as you know, it goes through the state. So the state gets to decide how it goes. And then, of course, there's various criteria. Early on, we did get and I know the states applied, cities have applied. We were pleased that there were resources for an aspect of the bipartisan infrastructure grant that dealt with equity. And so we were able to check those boxes. But it was projects we developed through our 5-year plan, a series of projects that met those criteria. We pulled them together in a very short period of time because their grant deadlines were short. Amazing staff here, worked with Compass, worked with the other jurisdictions, our partners. We submitted the grant and then we got the grant so we can start the planning process. It's not like it's going to be built tomorrow. But one thing, what that tells us is the more we're able to put, I hate the term shovel ready, but to get them through this long process of public input, our partners participating, and it gets to a point, and then the feds make money available. It's ready and it's easier to apply to. And the state's sort of modeling that with their grant program, which opened on July 1, ends on September 1. There's some grants we're gonna we may hopefully qualify for, but again, they like things to, all that pre-work has to have already been done. You can't start from scratch and then try to apply. You have to, so that's where I think we're in a pretty good position, if we're in partnership with people, to then get some of that money, and it's an allocation of that money, so it's not all just the property taxpayers who are paying for the improvement of our transportation system.
Chairman, I have a question for you though. So is your question really geared towards how are we gonna be pursuing the funds and which projects, or just generally like how is this gonna impact the agency?
I think it's geared toward what the county can do to assist in the process.
Okay.
If there's things we can do to help here, because if there's a bucket of money out there, we'd like to help you go get some of it to benefit the citizens of Ada County. I know it might come as a surprise to you, but the biggest calls we get they think they're calling the highway district, they're calling us.
We know that.
And we politely say.
Is this number?
No, we politely say, well, this is the number, this is the correct number.
Yeah.
Thanks for not giving my cell phone out all the time.
We've only done that a couple times. No, it's.
We need
it's-
you want us to?
Yeah, if you'd like, if you'd like us to. But yeah, that is a big issue. I don't know, because a lot of people do not understand particularly if they're new to the area or things moved in. Even the people who've lived here 50 years, they don't really know that the highway district's in charge of the roads. We have nothing to do with it. In a lot of the counties, the commission runs the roads, at least in the unincorporated areas, but we don't. And so we get a lot of calls. We'd say, call the highway district.
Well, Madam President, maybe it would be good, today in our commission meeting, we had Justin Lucas give kind of a presentation on this. I wonder if he might summarize in a couple minutes some of what he told us about how we're moving forward with regard to these state funds that are available.
Well, within the guides of like what's the role for the county? Because
Just support them.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Commissioners and Board of County Commissioners. My name is Justin Lucas. I'm the Deputy Director of Planning and Projects here at the Highway District. I think I'll just highlight, first off, we do work very closely with members of your staff and have a lot of collaboration and coordination with members of your development services and planning staff, and I think that's where most of the communication happens. When it comes to specific ways that we're able to get support, letters of support during the grant process, coordination between our grant writers. There are times when there may be appropriate where we go for a joint application depending on the type of project and the funding source. And so all of that collaboration really is wonderful and is occurring today. The other thing I would mention is through the Compass process, because all of the agencies come together at Compass, there's oftentimes really good discussions about project opportunities, funding opportunities, and the ability as a region to kind of decide, where do we want to focus our efforts. And all of those conversations happen not only at the board level, the executive team level, but they also happen extensively at the Regional Transportation Advisory Committee, the staff kind of technical level. So from a kind of a big picture perspective, that's where we find ourselves. When it comes to specific funding sources, there's been a lot that has come out over the last 3 years, not only at the federal level, but at the state level. And right now, the Highway District is working with each of our partners, kind of collaborating at the staff level, talking about what are some of the projects that are available. I think coming out of this concept study for the Eckert Road Bridge, one of the things we will explore is what's the right way to fund this project? And is it a good candidate for federal funding? Is it a good candidate for maybe one of the local programs? And those conversations are really important. Because when you decide to make, we're going to use federal dollars, suddenly you just, the project cost just went way up and the timeline went way down. And so that's just kind of the way it works with some of these funding sources, is there's complications associated with, the agreements with the right agencies and all of those kinds of things. So I'm not trying to be vague, I'm just trying to kind of give an overview of where we're at. Most specifically right now, over the next couple months, we're going to be focusing on some key projects through ITD's Strategic Initiatives program that they just released. So that's a $100 million program specifically for projects impacted by the state highway system. This agency, as you know, has been coordinating with ITD and the state on improvements related to Highway 16 and advancing some of those improvements, many of which are in the county along Ustick Road and Franklin Road. We're also looking at projects in downtown Eagle adjacent to the major improvements that were just made at State Highway 44 and State Highway 55. And then there's some overpasses and other projects that we're coordinating with our partners on. So that funding source is available right now. It's a brand new program, and we're kind of learning about it as it goes. It's really the first time in a while that ITD has administered a state-level grant program where we have to apply directly to ITD. Many of these programs are administered by LTAC, which is the Local Highway Technical Assistance Council, and that's more standard. This is kind of a new way of doing it, so we're working with ITD very carefully on the possibilities within that. And how can the county help? We're going to be reaching out for letters of support, staff-level coordination, potentially some data and other things associated with demographics and other things the county might be able to help us with, and we have really good contacts with your staff on all of that.
How's that working out for you with working with the ITD like that?
Well, we're at the beginning phases of coordinating with them. We're very optimistic that Ada County will be in a good position due to our population center, due to the impacts of this. If you look at projects and the system impacted by the state highway, I think there's a lot of that going on in Ada County. So we're optimistic we'll be able to tap into that funding source.
You know, since you asked about the bipartisan infrastructure funds, you probably are well aware of the $36 million that the legislature appropriated to us, especially on top of that $100 million to address the Highway 16 needs. And that was an appropriation that was not even thought of or thought was going to happen or even been given any thought to in 2021. In fact, though, the words from them to us is we have no appetite to fix this problem that we caused for you. And so that problem was fixed. We had a really great lobbyist and other efforts made to put this at the front of their vision, and hopefully we'll have that $36 million next week. And if we didn't, that would have been the largest unfunded mandate by our legislature to someone else in the history of the state of Idaho, and it would have directly impacted our ability to help any of our municipal partners for years. And so I appreciate any of the support that we had from you guys to get that. And that $36 million probably won't cover the nut for all those connections. And so we'll be looking. But I just wanted you to be aware that we were trying to solve problems that were coming down the pike, and this was by far and away the biggest one for a while.
You get 11 million ongoing?
No.
That's gonna be about a one-timer. And unless we get
Am I
more,
reading that correct? 11 million ongoing, if funded, or some portion thereof.
if funded every year.
That's for the,
If he gets it,
if
yeah.
you get the grant, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, and for the sake of time, so you're comfortable, Chairman, to skip the Eck River Bridge discussion? We can jump
Well, I
to
think
the last
we've kind of
one.
beaten that around.
Yeah, I just want to confirm, so,
I think we've discussed that plenty, yeah.
okay.
On this other legislative direction on congestion mitigation, I think I don't think people in Ada County really understands what congestion is. Because if you've ever been in some of the other communities, congestion is not what we have in Ada County at this point. I think we could get more congestion, and I didn't understand that. I understand there was some congestion mitigation language, but I didn't quite understand it. I wonder, could you tell us how it's impacting the highway district? What is it even?
I think, do we have Steve on deck to speak to that?
Sure.
It'll be nicer.
Yeah. Again, Madam President, Chairman Beck, and Commissioners. In this last legislative session, the legislature went and looked at all of ACHD's funding. Now remember, ACHD is a special purpose district. We don't have the constitutional powers that, let's say, the county does. We are a creature of the state legislature, and they can control many aspects of the highway district. And one of the big ones is funding. And the legislature took it upon themselves to try and limit the way that we spend our funding so that it was for the primary benefit of motorists. And we don't know what that means. Does that trump safety? And so there's still a lot of unknown questions about what that means. But going forward, the highway district is, one, we're looking at it. Two, we're most certainly going to comply with the law and the way that we expend our revenue. In terms of backdrop as to why, I have no idea. It really didn't come out during the legislative testimony as to why they're doing it. They just did it.
Well, I didn't know what's going on. I saw the legislation, and that's why.
Yeah, and with that, Chairman Beck, they included a definition of congestion mitigation. And within that definition, they were trying to focus on everything on the roadway for motor vehicles. They excluded any attempt or any recognition that you can reduce congestion by other means, including pedestrians and bicycles. And so, in any event, that's what the law says, and we'll go forward from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I've been, I'm sure most everyone in this room have been to other areas. I have a daughter that lives in Southern California, and we don't even know the definition of the term congestion compared to that area and other East Coast. I mean, we are starting to get a little bit of that, but in terms of the whole scope of congestion, I don't think we really know what that is yet.
Madam President.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I think you'll find the one thing we do have the biggest impact on congestion, given the limited tools we have, is just across the street, our traffic management center, managing the movement of vehicles on that system. We just did a groundbreaking for a significant improvement of that. You can only manage it so far. I mean, as densities occur and more people are coming to our county and need to move around, and they only have the option to move around by car, obviously there's going to be more delays on that system. And the best thing we can do related to that is our traffic management systems. I'd really encourage you, if you haven't been over there, take a look at it. It is phenomenal. And then the facility that we broke ground on last week will be much, much better. And of course, we also manage the movement of vehicles on the state system within Ada County. So it's a state and local system as well. So that's the biggest thing we can do. It's all for the benefit of motor vehicles to be able to move around. But we're not a land use agency. We don't control densities. We don't control the connectivity. The less connectivity you have, if people, it gets more and more dense and there's only one arterial roadway they can all go onto, that's the decision that's made by the land use agency. We have what we're given. The development patterns are given to us, and that's how we operate with them. And the best thing we can do is manage it through traffic management.
Commissioner Goldberg.
One of the things this has having to do with congestion just a bit, we showed a map a little while ago about some of the projects that we've got going in the county between Cole, Maple Grove, and Cloverdale, and Amity and Lake Hazel. A few years ago, we had $3 million appropriated that we were using to fill in sidewalk gaps. Spend a little bit of it in Star, and the majority of it we spend in that area where that map was. And we put temporary sidewalks made out of asphalt along Cloverdale, stuff next to the schools, and I was actually going to live there, and that didn't work out. But I visited with the principals in the middle school and the elementary school, and the effect of spending a little bit of money to take mothers or fathers that take their kids to school in the morning off the roads so their kids could walk or ride their bikes made a huge impact in number one, the number of bicycle racks those schools have to have now, and the number of lesser number of cars that are stacked up around those schools to bring their kids. And that is such a infinitesimally small percentage of what it costs to widen roads that I'm speaking for myself personally here, understanding every detail of what happened in that neighborhood. It upset me greatly to hear the legislature say that the only way that we could solve congestion was to make every arterial in the county 5 lanes with no facilities for kids. And we know better than that, so we have to work with them to make the right things happen.
Well, I live just off Cloverdale.
Yeah.
In that area.
Yeah.
And my kids were gone before the improvements were
Right.
made. So I understand exactly what was going on there, and the asphalt sidewalks, if you will, that's there now, the kids' bikes and so forth. And there's a lot fewer cars at Centennial High School. And so there was no question about that. But you bring up the traffic control situation. I guess that's what involved, and I have a question for you on that one. That would involve the cameras that you have on most of the intersections. And you use that to, I guess, kind of see what's going on there. I don't know. But all that. We have I'm sure you're aware of it. Our sheriff wants to put up a few cameras.
We got that presentation today, and you're gonna get his from today to your next meeting.
So what I'm,
Yeah.
and so.
We didn't take any action.
You did, we haven't either, but
We're
what
waiting
I'm.
for you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're the law enforcement.
Yeah,
You have a
we
general
wanna make
purpose.
sure that
We're about
that we're all in consensus.
Well, we're not the law enforcement in Boise and in Garden City, but, is there some reason that, because that was the question that we have, and we haven't got a solid answer yet. Is there some reason, you already have those cameras there, why we have to have 2 sets of cameras?
There's 2 different things.
They're different kinds of cameras. The traffic detection cameras are not the kinds that could be used for recognizing license plates, which is what the sheriff's office is installing. So
Wouldn't that have something to do with recording you don't record
We
it?
don't.
It's to manage the lights.
Yeah, our cameras are only there for detecting arrivals of vehicles for purposes of integrating with the traffic signal control system. And,
That's another great tour you guys should go on.
You need to, it's
yeah,
really
good.
impressive.
Well, we have toured our dispatch center, which has
I
all
saw that.
your cameras there.
Yeah.
Or a lot,
Yeah.
not all,
Yeah.
but some of them.
Yeah.
The dispatch center, we've got them all around the walls there, and they said, well, those are ACHD cameras. So, okay. So there is I understood there's a difference in the technology, but I'm still kind of trying to get my arms around, was there, because if you're not recording them, it's by choice, you could record them, correct?
I just feel uncomfortable answering those types of questions because we're not the technical, experts, and especially comparing what the sheriff's vision
I don't,
is.
well,
And,
you're talking to a non-expert here as well, so.
Yeah. But Commissioner Goldthorpe, you
Yeah,
should say.
one of the things that the sheriff showed us today, and I don't know if they showed it to you, but those cameras are being used in Meridian and Nampa. And they showed us a long list of incredible cases that have been solved either partially or to a great degree through using those cameras, including, Amber Alert solutions, vehicle theft solutions, domestic abuse solutions, stuff that's really serious felonies. And,
We're aware of a homicide that was solved.
Yes.
With using I don't know if it was that particular camera, but it was out in Star Echo Park out there. They had some camera and they captured a license plate and found that they had the guy arrested within hours. That was because of cameras, because the guy was later dead, it was his roommate that killed him apparently.
Yeah, so we talked it through today, and we hope that they said they were gonna get to you at our next meeting in August with the same presentation that we just got today, and we were duly impressed. But it is a very different camera system and solution than what we already have. You wanna put, what, 5 of them or 6 of them up in CUNA, most 6 of them, and mostly in CUNA, one of them at bottom of my hill on Black Cat and Franklin, and another one over by Highway 44, so.
And even if we did have the same cameras, that would not be a good role for us, right, to step into. So things would need to be very separate, right, because we're not a law
Sure.
enforcement agency, so.
Well, I
But,
get that,
yeah,
On the right of way.
we just, so, but I do wanna end pretty quickly here, so is there any other questions?
Just follow up on that real quick, just the concern I brought to the sheriff when they came to give us a presentation the other day. Just when you're starting with a new technology, information gathering, infrastructure, obviously you have concerns about, privacy, civil rights, who has access to the information, because the cameras are intending to track people from, throughout the city, based on license plates. So I was curious if ACHD, you guys had any conversations about having your own internal policies in place that technology shouldn't be put on your infrastructure unless, certain safeguards are in place, or you're just, acquiescing to the county. If we approve it, then you approve it.
We won't just be acquiescing to you.
We should.
I mean, because that will be sold on it, and we'll want it to happen. Our cameras wipe themselves every night. I mean, we don't keep anything. But it's amazing having the system that we do.
Well, they are recorded for a while, apparently.
No, they are live, we do not keep
There's no
recordings, there's no
But what
recordings.
some of our people and your people see on those cameras has saved lives, gotten the emergency system people to all kinds of weird situations much quicker than ever otherwise would have happened. But it's not recorded. But a lot of people ask us to record those things for civil attorneys and things like that, and we don't want to have anything to do with it.
Well, the last thing we want is, and of course the sheriff doesn't intend to do that, but to be able to issue citations from those cameras.
Well,
That's a different
And
thing.
having said that, I've told this to our commission because it's been driving me nuts. One day driving east on Franklin Road there at 10 Mile, I was going to go straight through, and the folks going south on 10 Mile making the left-hand turn there, when the light was fully red, 4 vehicles continued on through that red light, including a school bus, which drives me nuts. But it happens almost every single revolution of the lights. People just running, flat out running, 1, 2, 4, 6 people, and then we got pedestrians that have been run over as a result of stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there was a recent news article on that very thing, wasn't there?
Yes, and that's why we're putting in a leading pedestrian, the delay on the walking signals for the green lights, so that we can protect these people more. And it might cost folks another couple of seconds at a red light, but, and a lot of folks complain about that, but they'll still run all the red lights and run over those folks. We're going at a record clip for running over pedestrians this year, and the last fiscal year, we had 0. It's crazy.
So I'm gonna get back onto the congestion mitigation
Yeah,
conversation. Commissioner Daly, did you have a question really quick?
No, it was in relation to coordination as far as use of the cameras.
Okay.
Like our control center, emergency control center, we use your cameras.
Yes.
I think that's the part of the crux of the question. Multiple cameras doing multiple things, and could we consolidate? That was part of
Gotcha.
part of my question.
And the degree the sheriff just wants to use your light poles.
Right.
Just 4 or 5, correct? Or
About
6?
6.
Yeah.
6, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew it was a small amount, but it's a small amount.
They want to increase it a couple every year.
Yeah, that's the concern.
Exactly.
It'll lead to a countywide network. This is kind of off topic of congestion, but it just came up yesterday, so. But again, my overall question is, whether it's any law enforcement agency, whether it's the sheriff or city police, if they ask to put cameras on your infrastructure. Are you agreeing to that, or are you just in general inclined to agree to that? Or are you looking at policies or procedures?
So just to answer that really quickly, because I do need to leave. So, we are not just willy-nilly, whoever can like provide a camera, yes, plug into our infrastructure. That is not the conversation at all. The sheriff's office has been very mindful and intentional about how he makes that request and the proposal, the research around why this type of infrastructure or camera surveillance, how it would be used, how it's different from our own infrastructure, what the scope is for each agency. So he's been very good about that.
Well, this is probably a legal question as well, that I don't think the sheriff would have the capability to put these cameras in cities.
We
where
would have to,
Yeah, where we don't have any, where we don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have to agree first, but the whole
Sure.
point of the decision that was made today earlier at our meeting was we really want him to come back to you all and consult with ITD, because one of those cameras would be on ITD, looking at ITD infrastructure on Chittenden and Highway 16. So before we move forward, we just want to make sure that y'all are on the same page as well, and we are eager to support it if you are as well. So with that, Mr. Chairman, are we ready to adjourn? Or I can leave and you guys can keep talking. Either way.
We're I don't, unless commissioners have anything else, I mean, I appreciate we gotta do this a little more often, I mean, because we are the only agency that works in the entire county. And, we're having a planning and zoning commission meeting tonight, and oftentimes the planning and zoning, that we discuss, the land use as a highway district, because our staff weighs in on that, always sends you a notification if something's going to be impacting, and that's always part of our conditions of approval, so on and so forth. So I think it's good that we should be reaching out and coordinating, working a little more together. I'm glad we had this meeting.
Me too. I would agree wholeheartedly. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on our side, I'm going to call the meeting adjourned.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you. How's everything at CDC?
Oh, good.
Surprised.
Surprised you remember.
Oh, I remember, sure. You thought I'd forget.